Hello, wealthy, successful, money making traders. This is your trader's friend. Thank you for joining me today for another video. Guys, I'm so glad you can be here with me. And I think that this is possibly going to be my last video, period. I feel that I've pretty much told you everything that I can tell you in the market. But today I am going to make this video on how it is that I know that I'm in a range bound market. Now we will be looking at past price action, but this is actually what it was I was trading this morning. And I guess since this is going to be my last video, I should give you a life update. A couple of months ago, I decided to become a chauffeur, and the check that I got this month was like 38 bucks. I think it was $38 even. Maybe it was $38.62. I don't know. At any rate, so it was like at this point I think I'm over it. So I did about 2 runs this month. It was 38 bucks. It's like, eh, I think that I'm over it at this point. So on to my next adventure. Hadn't quite determined what that's going to be yet, but God does not make mistakes. So I've been trading and enhancing my trading this month, which I'm really, really happy with. I'm thankful for the clients that I get the privilege of working with now in Forex. And guys, I want to say this, and this is going to sound self-serving, but I'm saying this from an honest heart. If you are going to get into Forex, go ahead and spend the money for an education. I'm so serious. Because if you're like me, I'm trying to say, don't be like me. I did it the dumb way. I did it the hard way. And when I first got into Forex, I saw some of the programs and they were thousands of dollars. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to give those people my money. If I just work hard enough and I study hard enough, then I'm going to be able to master this thing. All I have to do is read some books and watch videos. Guys, I paid them tens of thousands of dollars more than I would have paid for a professional just to help me. But, eventually you get it. Eventually you get it. And I don't mean that you get the fact that there's a perfect system or a perfect strategy. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. There is no perfect system. There is no perfect strategy. The stuff that was working for me last year, this year is not working. Example, economic reports. It used to be easy, get in, get out, lots of fatness in your pocket. This year hadn't quite worked out, or in recent months it hadn't worked out as well. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but it used to be that they were pretty consistent. I think about a year ago, year and a half ago, I would look and I could possibly get 200-300 pips a day, 250 or something. That's changed a little bit. And sometimes you could, sometimes you couldn't. Sometimes the market would move 500 or 600 pips. I hadn't seen that kind of action in a while. So just know that there is no perfect system, and I'm just kind of giving you guys recaps as I'm leaving you. And I'm still available, of course, but I feel like I'm diluting the videos with just an overkill, and the main messages are being missed. So I'm going to get to what it was that I wanted to talk to you in a minute, but I do want to recap some of these things because they're important to me. Discipline, more than anything, is it's going to take you where you want to go in this business. And this is a business. This can absolutely change and revolutionize your family's lifestyle and build the kind of wealth that you are looking for in your life. It's just like any other diamond patches. You have to be able to recognize a diamond in the rough. Forex is a diamond in the rough. Now, when I came in, I didn't see it as a diamond in the rough. I saw it as a gleaming gem full of all kind of promises. Got my butt kicked repeatedly. And the good thing about learning stuff the hard way is that you get the lesson. Problem with learning the hard way is you spend tens of thousands of dollars just giving away to the market before things start to sink in. The number one mistake that traders make is holding losses too long. If you're doing it, stop it, because eventually it's going to eat up your account, and I don't care how big your account is. There is no perfect strategy. Guys, I see people make a killing off scalping. I see people making a killing off of long-term trading. It just depends on um, what strategy works best with your personality. But discipline, if there's anything that every successful trader has in common, it is discipline. Discipline is the holy grail in the market. I know you've heard me say this a billion times, but discipline is the holy grail in the market. So let's talk about how it is that I recognize that I'm a in a in a range bound market in real time. Now here you can obviously see there is a range bound market. But in real time, you may not be able to recognize this as a range bound market. And I'm going to show you on a smaller time frame how it is that I recognize this. Let me blow this one up first, and you can see we were in this range bound market, then we got a break to the upside. Now, it was the break to the upside that I was excited about last night, break to the downside. And when I get stopped out with a few pips worth of profit or so, because once I move um, so far maybe about 10 pips or so, then I want to lock in at least um, 2 pips of profit or something like that, because I honestly I just don't want to lose money to the market unnecessarily. So when I find myself getting stopped out like that, then and I go the other way when the opportunity presents itself and I'm stopped out again, it's like, okay, I'm in a range bound market. So I look for points of resistance and points of support. And that's how I know in real time that I'm in a range bound market. But I'm going to show you this on the 1 minute time frame and what it looks like on the 1 minute time frame when you are range bound. And this is the thing about the market. Well, and I guess I should probably say this once we get to the 1 minute time frame. But the market is going to sow, guys. It is sowing, and I just like to think of it as sowing your moving averages together. It's going to sow before it finds a direction. The challenge with that, though, is you never know when it's going to eventually find the direction. And that can be tiring and frustrating, because I was up during the European session last night through much of it, and I said, okay, we're in a range bound market. Not going to get a whole lot more action, and I eventually went to bed. So you can see that it took all of these hours, and you can't see it here. Let me go to an hourly time frame. You can see how it took all of these hours before you finally got the break to the downside, and we just got this break a few hours ago. So it took all of this time. Now we may get a bounce off of this 200 SMA, who knows? But that's the thing about the market, and there are people who disagree with me when I say this. Guys, the market is random. It's random, and I remind myself of that every day now. I have a sheet that I read because I'm one of these people who tends to get overconfident sometimes, and I feel like, okay, I know what the market's going to do. No, I don't. So now I remind myself every day, I have no idea what the market's going to do. All I can do is allow them to lead and follow. That's it, and follow a few basic rules. That's all that I can do. All I can do is try to put the most odds possible in my favor. And I know I'm chatty in this video, but let's go ahead and take a look at this on the 1 minute time frame. Go ahead and shrink this back. Now this is that same price action here, and I've actually taken the time to kind of put these ranges in boxes so that you can recognize them. Like I said, here is kind of easy, or it's easier to see on the 5 minute time frame that you are pretty much range bound. But sometimes in real life, it's not so easy. So let's take a look at these boxes on the 1 minute time frame. Also, I'm thinking let's get a close-up of this on the 5 minute time frame. You can see that little junky price action. That's pretty much, honestly, how I tell by the way the price action behaves. That's how I pretty much figure out I'm in a range bound market as opposed to a market that's going to trend. Because after so long, eventually you should get to the point where your market is doing something. And another thing, my moving averages are usually they just look not so good. So when I get into the market and it looks like this is the thing. When there is a good trade, you should be able to get in your market and see it. Honestly, and I'm sorry I hit the microphone again, but you should be able to get into the market and see the good trade. Guys, if you don't see the trade, it's not there. And until you can see it, it does not exist for you. Do not trade because you're bored. Do not trade because you want to make something happen in the market. That's just dumb money thrown away. The market's going to do what it's going to do, and eventually is going to find direction. But this is what a range bound, a choppy market looks like, or range bound on the 1 minute time frame. Now this was during the Asian session, so I was watching movies and stuff and knew it's like, I'm not going to even waste the time with that. So that was the Asian session, and then this is still Asian session, but it's overlapping right before the well, I guess it's like I think it's a Sydney session or something, then it goes into the Asian session, but pretty much it was the Asian session. And this is all of that little bitty irritating price action before. Look at that sweet breakout. Look at that. So now you think, yay, I'm on the way. But you can see that you started to get these strong pullbacks. No problem, because a lot of times I expect a pullback in my trading. And you can see that you're still not stopped out there. So another thing I look for the point where we get to the moving averages being closer. Sometimes this works, guys, sometimes it does not. But usually when you have a lot of strength and you break the moving averages in either 1 to 4 candles, that's the trade that I'm looking for. That's the counter strength. I'm looking for the counter strength that's going to be able to bend the trend. So when we get there, you see the pullback, you can ride a little bit more. Pretty soon you're coming right back down, and you just kind of get into this thing, and it's like, okay, wait a minute, I'm not getting a whole lot of pips here. What's going on? Oh, I'm range bound. So when you see that you've been stopped out, or let me just say for me, when I see that I'm stopped out here and stopped out there with little bitty pips here, little bitty pips there, then what I know is that, okay, I'm range bound. And once I get stopped out on the bearish side and I wait for the opportunity to go long, and I get stopped out pretty soon after going long, because this is not what a flowing market is going to look like. Just say you got this break above the 50 and the 200. Now you got all of this price action that's coming back down with this kind of strength. When I was in the market last night looking at this live, I said, this is just one of those trades that's just not really going to work out. I'll go ahead and take my pips and call it a day. Another thing, you just don't have that kind of really strong pullback. This is more of what you're looking for in a trending market. You see how you're not breaking above the giant green candle, and price is going on until you get the break again above this giant green candle. But it's pretty much the same on any time frame, guys, any time frame. So that's what I was looking at last night, and the price just never went anywhere. And this is the thing, this looks like a lot of price action because it's kind of blown up, But this really isn't a lot of price action at all. And it just is like, okay, this just, it's not really yielding much. So that's how I know personally. Now let me show you the difference between this market, and go back in your chart and take a look at some of this. Now since time has gone on, your moving averages have kind of pulled themselves closer together, but in real time, this is about what you're looking at. This kind of junky, kind of, okay, this moving average isn't making any sense kind of thing. So this is what I'm looking at in real time as things are going on. It's like, I don't like the way that that looks. And this is the great thing about your mind. After you watch price action for so long, it'll start to tell you. And I guess this is your subconscious mind comes to your conscious mind, whatever. That doesn't look right. So I know this video is a bit lengthy, but now let's take a look at this. And it doesn't always work out like this. Sometimes you'll get a retest of these moving averages, but look, this is the kind of market that I love to be in, because, and I should probably change this. I'm going to change the color of that moving average so that you can see which one I'm actually moving. And I'm actually moving these candles on the bearish side. So you can see once you get the break and close above the 50, and sometimes you'll get, especially in between your moving averages like this, you'll get a strong bounce back up. Now on the 1 minute time frame, this doesn't look like a strong break and close, but on the 5 minute time frame, it's going to look completely different. And that's why I look at all of my time frames together so that I can kind of have a reference back and forth. If I'm doing all of this kind of choppy on the 1 minute time frame, and I'm not getting a correlation with a strong break of the 10 SMA or so on the 5 minute time frame, then I already know this is just junk. It's just junk, honestly. So when my moving averages are straight like this, nothing's happening, honestly. And I know you're thinking this is past price action, you can say this, but you'll see as you're trading. Okay, as you're moving this stop loss, even on a 1 minute time frame, guys, look. And we're moving along these big green candles. Big green candle, big green candle, big green candle. Even the smaller ones, you're just not getting stopped out. Look at that. Look at how that market flows for you. It flows from here all the way down. Now when I get a giant green candle and I start to close above it, then I already know it's like, okay, it's time to do something else. Even now, once I get into, and I'm sorry, once I get into a good flowing market, then I go ahead and start moving my stop losses on the 5 minute time frame. But I just wanted to remind you of what a good flowing market looks like. And before I end this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you that break on the 5 minute time frame. You see that break? Look at the strength in that candle. So, and eventually you get the break and close below this, and look at the strength of the break and close below this. Even if you get in under this candle, guys, that's still a pretty sweet run. So these are the things that I want to leave you with. I do plan to keep up with my Traders Friend videos on my blog spot, and some of the other things. I just want these lessons. I want you to get these lessons, because they're so important. They're so important to the success in your trading. I'm going to leave you 4 very basic rules. And if you follow these 4 basic rules, you will not, you will find success in the market. And you certainly won't have to pay me to talk to me one-on-one. And another thing, this isn't a rule, but study your charts. Guys, study your charts. Study your charts. Even at this point in my trading, I still go back and I study my charts. I still study price action because I want this stuff in my mind so I can understand what's going on. Yes, the market is random, but there are some patterns and some things that it does repeatedly over and over and over again that's going to help me find success. 1 minute time frame again quickly. Now the break and close of the 50, you can see every break and close of the 50 does not yield in a successful trade. However, when you get the right break and close, there is one that's going to yield you the kind of trade that you're looking for. And this one I would have been fooled by if I was not comparing it to the 5 minute time frame. Now this is a demo account. I opened this one right before the video so that I wouldn't mess with my live active charts. And to my surprise, a lot of this stuff came on the demo video as well. I'm short currently, but yeah, I needed to clean it up, but I didn't want to clean up my real chart because I had all of these little cutter trend lines and all of this junk everywhere. So I didn't want to take it off to make the video. But this one would have fooled me some because I didn't have that strength that I'm usually looking for. But looking at it on the 5 minute time frame, it would have balanced out. So I would have already, because I was in this this trading range, then I would have shorted off of the top anyway. I would have shorted off of the top anyway. And because of the way things were going and we didn't get the close above here, then yeah, I don't know, I think I'm probably a bear by nature. I've kind of come to that conclusion that that may be right. But then I'm just looking to short off the top, just short off the top. So I don't know, I did buy some during the European session this morning, but that's where I had the advantage already as far as shorting off the top, because I was already I'd already drawn this area of resistance up here, so I already knew to short off of the top. I'm sorry guys, I know I'm chasing rabbits, but this is the last video. Okay, these are the rules that I want to leave with you, and there are only 4. They're gonna sound simple, but you have got to discipline yourself in order to do this. Your discipline in the market is always more important. If you let discipline rule as opposed to impulse and emotions, you will get to where you need to be in your trading. Now, you're never going to stop having emotions. You are a human being. There are people, I guess, who do it, but I still get emotional. I still get pissed at the market. I still get overjoyed when I get a really good trade. So, you know, it's a human thing, but it's about how it is that you discipline yourself. You have got to be in more control than your impulses, because your impulses will tell you things that's not always the best. 4 basic rules, and then I'm gone. But before I go, guys, I want to wish you a life of abundance, of wealth, of happiness, and of peace. And I want to remind you that you are worthy of this and you deserve this. Look in the mirror and remind yourself that you are worthy of that. Put your name in there in the morning. Greet yourself. Hello, millionaire Fred, or millionaire Betty, or whatever your name is. Greet yourself in that way in the morning and remind yourself of who you are. Now, 4 basic rules and I'm gone. Number 1, wait. Number 2, follow. Number 3, ride. Number 4, cut. And you know the big one. Those are the 4 rules, but you never let them trap you. If they trap you, they are going for the kills. Kill. Guys, I just want to remind you that you can absolutely do this. You can be successful at Forex. Have a terrific, wonderful, prosperous life.